welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Jo Brand. In the news this week, after a keenly fought competition of the highest standard, Russian state media announces the winner of its Young Musician of the Year award. In Westminster, Sue Gray gets so bored waiting to deliver her report, she consumes an entire box of liqueur chocolates. And after a disappointing defeat, there are suspicions that the manager of Aldershot Town's half-time Orange was spiked with LSD.
Does a penguin get cold? What way does your bath water go? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? When you take the plug out. Sam's had a lovely haircut. It's started to grow out now. Coops is here, working silently away. Robbie's over there. It's the first time he's been quiet today. Terry's brought a briefcase in, you know. He's got 4 Japanese talking dogs in there.
On Ian's team tonight is a journalist who says she's baffled by people who don't use Twitter. To be fair to Ian, he's only just got rid of his wind-up telephone. Please welcome Camilla Long. And on Paul's team tonight is a comedian who originally trained as an electrician, and with the massive increase in energy bills, we're already grateful to her for wiring up the studio to the next-door hospital's dialysis machine. Please welcome Susie McCabe. We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Camilla, have a look at this.
It's newspapers. Obviously got a big story in it. It's this one. And that's the leader of the Labour Party and her deputy. There's Gundy, or Rundy, as he's known. Oh, that's him trying to do a straight line.
Well, this is the news about the way Shadow Minister Angela Rayner sits on a bench. And let's start with what did the political editor of the Mail on Sunday, Glenn Owen, splash all over the front page of his newspaper?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a rude word for it, really, isn't there? I mean, you know, the truth. This is a story sort of bubbled up at the beginning of the week that Angela Rayner had been distracting Boris by crossing and uncrossing her legs like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. And so Angela had been sort of brought into this by an anonymous Tory MP who said that this was all happening. Anyway, obviously Angela was very upset about this and was so upset about this that she repeatedly tweeted about it and went on the rain and wore a trouser suit in order to make the feminist point that obviously it's very disappointing that her grandula is the subject of everybody's... Sorry, Ian's looking at me and saying, what's this woman talking about? You know what this is about, Ian, come on.
I do, I just hadn't heard that word before. I read the story originally in the Mail on Sunday, and it said Angela Rayner disrupted Boris's Oxford Union debating skills. And I thought, well, this isn't true because he doesn't have any debating. He has a modest sort of after-dinner comedy skills, providing you don't interrupt him. And if you do, he goes mental, as happens in the Commons. So I thought, well, this is a very strange story.
But then it turned out that she had been making jokes about it.
Yes, on a podcast.
Yes. She actually even sort of used a rude word for it. And I began with...
Is that the word you've repeated?
No, it's not. It was a very similar word. It does begin with a G.
I think we're going to be showing that word later. So.
Oh, right. In what way?
In what way? I'm going to be uncrossing my legs. I have tried crossing and uncrossing my legs, but unfortunately I have fat lady pants, so I had a hysterectomy, unwittingly. Ian, have you ever seen Basic Instinct?
I'm so glad we got here so quickly.
I was intrigued that when Angela Rayner said that some people think that because I had a comprehensive school education, I wouldn't be able to match Boris in debate because he has an Oxford University education. And I wondered whether there'd been any kind of sort of public experiment over the last 32 years where two people with a similar educational background, one had been to Oxford, one had been to a comprehensive school, where perhaps their various wits could be tested via, let's say, a TV news quiz. And whether those results are now ready to be published.
I think it's too early. I think we've got to wait until the Sue Gray report has come out, and then the police will look into whether the competition's been rigged for 32 years, which it has.
If only we knew that legs is what distracted Boris at the start of the pandemic, because we could have had Chris Whitty get into Cobra meetings in his pants. And he might just have paid attention to him at that point.
I'd pay attention. A spokesman for Angela Rayner has described it as categorically untrue. Should we just give the journalist who wrote the story the benefit of the doubt? Because I'm sure he's a lovely man.
Has he fallen onto a hot cross bun?
Do you think the story about distracting someone was actually trying to distract us?
What else could it be distracting from? Is it a party? Is it a Partygate thing? Was Boris upset about Partygate? So he's the Tory MP in the. We've not considered that he is the Tory MP giving that quote.
Have you got any evidence for that?
No.
Well, I suggest we just run with it.
How did Boris Johnson actually react to the Mail on Sunday's story, then?
He said what he was going to do. It's a quote from King Lear. I mean, I'm going to do such things, I don't know what they are, but they should be the terrors of the earth. And because he's never really read anything properly, this is a pathetic scene where King Lear, who's a useless leader, is threatening revenge, which he then doesn't take.
I thought his reaction was to start watching porn in the House of Commons.
So Boris Johnson also reacted by sending out a tweet which said, as much as I disagree with Angela Rayner on almost every political issue, I respect her as a parliamentarian and deplore the misogyny directed at her anonymously today. And he wasn't the only person to respond. Shortly after the Prime Minister's tweet, Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries also issued a heartfelt sentiment, tweeting, as much as I disagree with Angela Rayner on almost every political issue, I respect her as a parliamentarian and deplore the misogyny directed at her anonymously today. And to think she criticises the BBC for putting out repeats, for God's sake. According to the Sunday Times, 56 MPs have been reported for sexual misconduct to the Independent Complaints and Grievance Scheme, including 3 cabinet ministers and 2 shadow ministers, in what is being called Pestminster scandal. Do you know who they are? Come on, Susie, you must have heard up in Scotland.
Oh, yeah, because we're included in everything that happens down here. I could take a good guess, but we'd probably get done for slander.
Well, they can edit it out. Go on.
Yeah, that's fine. Just have a go. The porn MP, there was one man who... I'm assuming it's a man. There was one man who 2 women saw, and they both went to report it.
But I noticed that he was watching porn both in the House of Commons in the chamber and at a select committee hearing. And you think, have you got nothing else to do?
Yeah, but it's true, though, isn't it? When on film sets, when they make pornographic films, to get the participants in the mood, they read out loud the minutes of parliamentary selection. Isn't what happens?
See if you can sit in that chamber and get aroused while you're sharing that space with Boris, Gove and Rees-Mogg. You're probably a serial killer.
I think that this MP was originally thought to be Ian Blackford looking at a photo of a pie. And, well, it's all a bit of a downer, isn't it? Let's cheer ourselves up with a burst of BBC daytime news.
I've noticed a bee has come into these flowers, and isn't that magical?
Was that worth going live to Trafalgar Square for that?
So, everyone, what's worrying Labour MPs as elections approach?
They're up against the worst government of all time and they still can't land a punch on them.
First of all, they're worried that Labour leader Keir Starmer lacks charisma and isn't attracting voters. One Labour MP said they are looking in the shop window, but they're not yet necessarily ready to buy anything. Bit like me outside a Whole Food shop. And another senior Labour source said, whenever I see Keir, the image that often comes to mind is a wooden plank.
I don't want to go in too hard on him, but he looks like the type of guy that would cut your grass when you go on holiday. I was doing mine, so I thought I would just do yours.
Who wants to see Dominic Raab giving a smile a go?
I mean, I don't really want to, but fine.
Well, here he is, talking about the cost of living crisis on Sky News. Turn away, Camilla.
OK.
Everyone yesterday at Cabinet was asked to come up with some bright ideas for the cost of living crisis. I'm just wondering what yours were, sitting at the head of the Justice Department.
Look, I don't comment on the detail of what we discussed in Cabinet.
OK, so I know why he's smiling. He's had his teeth done.
I think he's smiling at the idea of them having some ideas about the cost of living.
True.
So what other government initiative did one BBC newsreader have to unexpectedly announce? Let's listen to it.
Yes.
Yes.
A senior government source says Boris Johnson has threatened to privatise the passport office if it can't clear backlogs and deliver better value for money. MPs heard yesterday that one woman waited more than 5 months for her daughter's passport. Mr Johnson is said to be horrified by the delays and said he would privatise the arse out of the organisation.
Didn't they used to just have the face in the passport? Is that the normal way? I know either way you're not allowed to smile.
OK, well, this is the Mail on Sunday story accusing Angela Rayner of trying to distract the Prime Minister. Lots of people have inadvertently done a Sharon Stone in the Commons, mainly when Keir Starmer's done a speech and bored the pants off them. According... Thanks, madam.
It's Angela Rayner.
Also this week, the government was found to have acted unlawfully by discharging people into care homes without testing. Matt Hancock claims he wasn't told that COVID could be passed on asymptomatically. Well, to be fair, he might have been told, but he had Gina Coladangelo's tongue in his ear at the time. So, moving on, Paul and Susie.
Yes.
Take a look at this.
Don't know who that is. Union Jack tablecloth being wiped down. That's obviously not Prince Andrew because he doesn't sweat. And there we are. Always drink the Guinness before it settles. Why are you drinking that? I don't know. I've no idea. Jubilee.
Yes, indeed. The news that plans to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee have been released. Now, 4 nights of celebrations have been planned at Windsor Castle in May. Which unlikely double act are set to host ITV's coverage of the event?
Ant and Dec.
Paul and Dean.
Alan Titchmarsh and Tom Cruise.
As a new double act.
They're set to host one of the nights. That's a green room you'd want to be in, isn't it?
Do you think Tom Cruise is obsessed with the Queen like Donald Trump is? And just wants to meet her, and the only way he can get to her is through Alan Titchmarsh?
That creates an unfortunate image.
There'll be a performance by Dame Helen Mirren.
As the Queen?
As Elizabeth I.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Catherine Jenkins will be doing a bit of singing. Anton Dec will be doing some talking. And there's also set to be a reenactment of the gunpowder plot.
That could be quite a popular move, couldn't it?
How long has she been on the throne that we go back to the gunpowder plot?
Well, it'll be a nice memory for her. Remember when they tried to blow up your relatives? Happy 70 years. So that's May's celebrations sorted. Who are they wheeling out on Jubilee weekend?
So there's open-top buses for every decade that the Queen has been reigning over, and they are to be filled with national treasures, so nobody wants to be in the 1980s bus.
I'm going to be in a national disgrace dust cart at the moment. Anyone want to join me?
There's also pensioners going to be on mobility scooters dressed as flamingos.
Yes.
What an odd little island we are.
The pensioners are going to do a fly past.
Yeah! With Tom Cruise.
This parade would also feature a 4-tier wedding cake baked by acrobats on the move, a trapeze artist suspended from a helium balloon bearing the 96-year-old's image, culminating in Ed Sheeran singing the national anthem.
Is there going to be a plagiarism suit at the end of it?
What's the good news about the Jubilee bank holiday?
It's 4 days long.
Yes, and certain places
Pubs
will
are going
be
to stay open.
Yes, that's
Till 1
right.
o'clock in the morning.
Pubs will be open to 1 a.m, hooray. The bad news is that we probably won't be getting the proposed extra bank holiday every year, which is billed as a thank holiday.
Or as the Tory MP who watched the porn. Well done. Well done for getting there before we've spared the innocent. We've spared the innocent.
Where have Prince Edward and Sophie, Countess of Wessex, been?
They've been to various places in the Caribbean.
They have. They've been to the Caribbean. They've been facing protests and calls for reparations for their ancestors' involvement in slavery. One radio presenter in St Lucia asked, "What have we done to deserve this trip?" Adding, "It's not like they're high up in the royal family." What did they actually give the Prime Minister of St Lucia as a gift in an attempt to smooth everything over?
Oh, a signed picture of themselves.
Absolutely. And here he is, looking thrilled with it. Meanwhile, which Republican politician has emerged victorious this week?
Macron.
He has.
Emmanuel.
Have we finished the royal news?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
What about Andrew being stripped?
No longer the Duke of York, is he?
The freedom of York
York,
being
that's it,
taken
yes,
away
yeah.
from him.
What can't he do in York now, then?
He
Sweat.
can't-
He can't sweat in York.
Can't sweat in York.
OK. So will he, do you think, be stripped of his title of Duke of York, then?
No, this is just the town of York. The council
Yeah.
has made its plain. Only the
City
Queen.
of York, surely.
Oh, yes, city is... Yeah, it's got a minster, so...
Oh, no,
city.
demote it to a town. Let's wind him up. York, you're shit, we all know it. Honestly, I've got...
Hang on, I'm going to York on my tour. I don't agree with that.
So this is the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. The 4-day Jubilee celebrations at the start of June will feature celebrities including Cliff Richard, Alan Titchmarsh, Gok Wan, Torval and Dean and Ed Sheeran. Good grief, no wonder there's a last-minute rush for passports. The Queen's Jubilee celebrations will include Tom Cruise, who was recently in the UK filming the latest Mission Impossible, in which he tries to rehabilitate Prince Andrew. According to The Telegraph, it will be a celebration of multicultural society with real people telling their own stories, including those who came to Britain on Windrush, presumably via Zoom from wherever it is we've deported them to. June the 5th has been designated National Thank You Day, where I assume the Queen goes around thanking us for all the money we give her. Oh, I say, some... And so to round 2, the strengthometer of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's the first one.
Yeah. Elon Musk has bought Twitter. Next one.
Yes, he recently declared that Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated.
Really?
So let's have a look at some of this vital discussion. The first one.
Yeah.
For the record, I do wash my legs, but lots of people apparently don't.
Well, lots of people apparently don't wash his legs.
I think that was a question about, do you wash your legs in the shower, or do you just let the water kind of...
Oh, I'd always prefer a bath myself. I like to wallow. Can't wallow in a shower.
I think you're getting drawn into it, Paul. I think...
No, the bath gets drawn into it.
Are you
Long
on
time
Twitter?
since the bath was drawn.
Oh, doesn't your footman do that for you?
I'll set
Would
him
you
up.
like me to
just
draw you
throw
a
in.
bath, Mr. Hislop? No, I prefer a real one, thank you very much.
OK, another tweet for
Another
you.
tweet.
Just catching up on Hignify, and I'm pretty sure Ian Hislop's tie has monkeys on it.
That's not a tweet from now, Ian.
And finally, a total tosser of massive proportions. You're finished, you fat wanker.
I'll be off then.
That's the sort of free speech we're after, is it?
Yeah.
But he's going to add an edit button, isn't he? That's his big thing, which will change Twitter. And then he tweeted that he was going to buy Coca-Cola and put cocaine back in it, so... should be a laugh.
Just in time to watch old-age pensioners dressed as flamingos.
So,
What I don't understand is why he's so rich.
Well, he set up PayPal.
Oh, right.
I suspect he's probably quite good at money.
I'm not entirely sure what PayPal is.
It's a kind of postal order, Ian.
how would anyone describe Elon Musk?
I think it's fascinating, don't you?
I thought he was some sort of scented candle for years.
Well, Guardian columnist Marina Hyde described Musk as a sort of intergalactically successful Dominic Cummings. Well, there are people protesting about Elon Musk's takeover, and they are led by Philip Schofield, who's deleted his Twitter account in protest. Now rivers will run uphill and goats will mate with lions.
Is this part of the Queen's Jubilee celebration?
I hope so.
I might watch that.
Now, we already had a look at some tweets, but
Yes.
do you want to see some examples of things getting out of hand on Twitter?
Yes.
By all means.
Yes.
Now, are you familiar with Nicki Minaj, Ian?
No.
Oh, yes.
Yes? Who did she have a falling out with?
With Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais?
No. Is this the testicles thing?
Yes, it is. So who was it then?
Oh, she was talking about the vaccine, wasn't she?
was.
And she was saying that it had made her cousin's balls swell up to the size of, I don't know, watermelons, and that he had been dumped at the altar by somebody as a result.
Surely bounced at the order.
Think of someone who used to come on the telly and talk about the vaccine and what we were going to do next.
Not Chris Whitty.
Yeah.
It was Chris Whitty.
It
Did
was
she attack Chris Whitty?
Yes, they
Yes.
had a Twitter spat.
Uh-huh.
The self-important, overexcitable diva was giving one of his Downing Street and was asked what he thought of Nicki Minaj's Twitter views on the vaccine. She'd issued this stark warning, which you've already said, really, about her cousin in Trinidad who wouldn't have the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent, blah, blah, big testicles. And friend getting married, girlfriend called off the wedding, blah, blah, blah. And Chris Whitty said, people who go round trying to discourage people from taking the vaccine, which could be life-saving by peddling untruths, should be ashamed of themselves. Nicki then tweeted something else, but I can't be asked to tell you. And there was also a notorious incident involving Rachel Johnson and David Cameron. Do you know about this? Rachel Johnson sent a tweet asking David Cameron, why are you such an egg-faced think we should make it clear that Rachel Johnson's account had been hacked. By me. So, staying with technology, does anyone want to see a woman having a virtual reality tour of the House of Commons? She accidentally took a wrong turn and ended up in Jacob Rees-Mogg's personal dressing room. Here we go.
I'll have a go with it. Yeah, you can have a go. Oh my God! Oh! Oh dear! Oh! Oh!
Fingers on buzzers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the next one.
We don't know. Next one.
No, I don't.
Oh, yes, go on, Em.
Is this the town of Bromyard wanted to invert the D to make them look a bit hipster and cool?
Oh, that's a cool thing to do, is it?
Apparently so. It'll look good in the rear view mirror, because that's where tourists are going to see it, isn't it?
The town has been given £90,000 to spend in a bid to attract more tourists. Local resident Bill Potter said, "This town has always been a bit backwards and these designs will make us a laughing stock." What might tourists lured to Bromyard by the backwards D see there? I know you don't know anything about the place, but you know.
I bet there's an interesting church.
There may well be. There's also a bronze sculpture of a resting sheep.
That's never Anne Campbell. That
yeah.
looks more like a sister. And the sheep's only resting because it's got his feet stuck in concrete. That's cruel.
Well, this has led locals to hope that, like with the concrete cows, Bromyard could become the Milton Keynes of the Midlands. Until someone pointed out that Milton Keynes of the Midlands is Milton Keynes. Meanwhile, why has a cricket club in Saddleworth had name-based trouble?
Saddleworth.
Saddleworth, yes.
It's not worth anything anymore?
Well, no, what happened was someone pinched the S from a stand in the ground that had been christened Old Bell's End.
Oh!
After the local pub. Here it is.
I wouldn't be standing behind that if I was him.
What has the Bank of England done to make its logo more inclusive to Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland? Well, here's the old logo.
Yeah.
You can see. Right, that's that. What would you put in to represent Scotland?
Would you be happy with a thistle? Flower Scotland? What is the Flower Scotland? Is it a thistle?
Yeah.
Jaggy. Small and jaggy. That's who we are. Rub us the wrong way, you get a rash. That's...
Well... Shall we see what's on the new logo?
Yes.
Great.
Oh, it's a Union Jack.
Yeah, so they've replaced the St George's Cross with the Union Jack and removed the pile of money, because, of course, no one's got any of that anymore. And the overall rebrand cost £50,000, which included £22,300 on a new font. Finally, do you want to see what happened to BBC Radio Bristol's Chris Arnold when he tried to broadcast from Grand Pier in Weston-super-Mare this week?
I bet he got soaked.
Well, here he is.
Oh, God, it goes up quite quickly, actually.
Does it really?
Wow, I've got a great view of the Grand Pier right now. I'm a bit concerned. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock, David. Oh, it really does free fall. Actually, it's not like.
Fingers on buzzers, team.
OK.
This is one of the earlier kings of Britain, King Bugs of Bunny. And he ate a huge number of carrots. And there's been an archaeological dig in York, and they found the remains of the king and a bit of a carrot, which proves that he always ate carrots. He could see in the dark, and thus he overcame the Normans.
I can't believe that rubbish got a round of applause.
It's the news that Anglo-Saxon kings weren't the big meat-eaters they were presumed to be.
Is that why they were all called Egbert and Egfrith?
That should get around... No, all right. Thank you, Angela Rayner. Researchers at Cambridge University examined the bones of skeletons and found they did not contain excess protein or signs of gout, as would be expected from a high-meat diet. What else did the researchers discover about Anglo-Saxon dining habits?
They very rarely used Deliveroo.
Peasants would host lavish meat feasts for their rulers from time to time, where people consumed over 4,000 calories in one sitting. Lightweights. Anyway. Speaking of feasts, do you want to see what one woman was served at a Toby Carvery recently?
Oh.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
It's a foot-long pig-in-blanket hot dog. Very unattractive, isn't it?
I have never been more assured that I'm a lesbian.
Don't you like bread?
I'm off it.
Researchers found that Anglo-Saxon kings were mostly vegetarians, although one king did love eating roast chicken. That's why they called him Ethelred the Oven Ready. Although mostly vegetarian, the rulers would occasionally host a banquet where they'd consume huge quantities of meat, fish, cheese, honey and ale. Although King Alfred insisted that it was a work event. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your four are Nicola Sturgeon, Hugh Edwards, Jack Black and Mark Selby.
I don't know at all.
Well, Jack Black was a rat catcher. You can see there's a rat in his pocket. Victorian rat catcher. And Nicola Sturgeon catches...
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs who are on the loose and then helps their teeth.
Mark Selby, Ian, what do you know about him?
He's
a snooker player, I think.
Yeah.
He's operating Hugh Edwards with a long stick. All had closer encounters with rats, apart from Mark Selby, because a pigeon landed when he was playing snooker the other day at the World Championship. Landed on the table.
Did it?
Yeah, but that may not be the right answer.
I can give you a clue. Do you want a clue?
Yes, and if it includes the answer, that would be even better.
The town of Hamelin could also have been in here.
Oh, well, that's... OK, so this is a rat thing.
They all employed these people to get rid of rats.
The rat catcher is the odd one out because everyone's had a close encounter with a pigeon apart from the rat catcher.
Well, you are right, but not for the right reason. But that doesn't matter. You're right, so well done. So they've all suffered from unwelcome pests, apart from Jack Black, who turned unwelcome pests into pets. Before turning his hand to breeding domestic rats, Jack Black was said to be the most skilled rat catcher in the whole of London. How did he actually go about catching them?
He attracted them with spices or something.
He used to dab Elon Musk behind his ears.
He was actually said to have employed badgers, a monkey and 2 raccoons, but found that a combination of ferrets to sniff out the rats and dogs to sniff out the lost ferrets to be the best combination.
How do you employ a badger? Want more money? Just do it. More money. 0 hours contract. Just get down the bloody hole.
So what were the dangers of the job?
It's a set rate.
Good joke.
What do you think the main danger is of being a rat catcher?
Catching rats. Fleas while on rats, which then...
What might rats do to you?
Bite you.
Yes, they might bite you.
charades.
That's right. So, yeah, being bitten. Apart from being surrounded by rats, what else made Jack stand out?
Well, he was...
Oh, he looked quite weird.
He did?
He had sort of big bushy beard and a sort of beetly brow and...
He did, but also his clothes were a bit weird. He sauntered around London in white leather pants, a scarlet waistcoat, a green topcoat and a sash emblazoned with metal rat-shaped medallions, which he said had been presented to him by Queen Victoria herself, when in fact he had made them by secretly melting down his wife's saucepans. Which unwelcome pest accosted snooker player Mark Selby?
Pigeon.
Yes, that's right. The reigning world champion was playing Yang Bingtao at the Crucible when a pigeon landed on the table. Let's have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
Absolutely extraordinary. It looked for a moment as though Yan Bingtao had had a towel thrown towards him, but it wasn't a towel, it was the arrival of an unwanted feathered friend. Absolutely incredible.
Well, as we heard there, the arrival of the pigeon proved incredibly exciting for snooker commentators. But what did Eurosport's Dominic Dale have to say about the incident? Well, he had a sparkling anecdote of his own.
I saw a sparrow once at the Welsh Open a few years ago, but never a pigeon here at the Crucible.
Who or what has been plaguing Hugh Edwards, among others? You mentioned them earlier.
Did I?
When you were talking about rats.
Rats? Oh, fleas.
Yeah.
He's got fleas?
Well,
much,
according to The Sun, the BBC News studios are under attack from an army of fleas. Well, it might explain this.
Sober David, the Liberal Democrat MP. Excuse me, I'm about to sleep. I think I've got away with it.
And finally, what unwelcome visitor has Nicola Sturgeon had to deal with?
Alex Salmond.
Holyrood Palace, where the Scottish Parliament sits, has been plagued by moths after a number of Scottish MPs opened their wallets at the same time. Is that all right?
Aye.
Sorry. And the building has also suffered invasions of birds and rodents. And in the past 4 years has racked up a £25,000 bill on pest control. Scots Nat Christine Graham said she saw mice flaunting themselves in broad daylight.
Listen, if that's all we've got to worry about in our Parliament, that's all right.
They've all suffered from unwelcome pests, apart from Jack Black, who turned unwelcome pests into pets. A pigeon invaded the World Snooker Championships at the Crucible, causing chaos. As it flapped around the audience, it woke several people up. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Pub History Society, a magazine promoting the heritage of British pubs and the people connected with them. The very latest edition is Outside Now. And we start with What says what was one of the best things he's ever done?
Oh, yes, I saw this. Resigning, says Prime Minister.
Tom Pyrex says eating his own weight in guacamole was one of the best things he's ever done.
The answer is Adrian Chiles says installing a urinal in his flat was one of the best things he's ever done. Adrian Chiles says the urinal in his flat sits beneath a stained glass window. It was just a glass window when he installed Next. Odd snoring-like noises turned out to be what?
Sexually satisfied Tories.
Odd snoring-like noises turned out to be hibernating bears.
Oh.
So, a family in California was stunned to find out strange noises they had heard coming from some hibernating bears underneath their house. The owners of the house first became suspicious when they came home and noticed someone had been eating their porridge. OK, next. Unsuspecting wedding guests served what?
Divorce papers?
Yes.
Bootlaces in tomato sauce. It's got to be served cakes laced with cannabis. That's always the story, isn't it?
Paul, I'm going to give you that because you're virtually right there. Well done. It's actually unsuspecting wedding guests served lasagna laced with cannabis. This is a wedding in America after which the bride was arrested on suspicion of lacing the meal with cannabis. You know the old saying, something old, something new, something borrowed, something that will get you off your tits. Next. The most famous incident connected with a pub was probably when what?
Ian bought a round. They're clapping.
The idea I'd go in a pub with you.
Exactly. Very idea.
Well, the answer is it was probably when a male coach was attacked by a lion.
Wow.
This is from an article, yes, in the newsletter of the Pub History Society, which details the event in 1816 in which pubgoers arriving at an inn were set upon by a lion. OK, next. Woman what for 20 minutes after trying to what?
Woman fainted for 20 minutes after trying to believe that Ian bought a round at a pub. Woman inflates her own tights for 20 minutes after trying to persuade her husband to blow in her ear.
Woman gets stuck in toilet for 20 minutes after trying to rescue phone. A woman in Washington State attempted to rescue her phone that fell into the pit of an outhouse toilet by tying herself to the toilet using dog leads and reaching in. Unsurprisingly, they gave way and the woman fell head first into it. She literally got shit-faced. And finally, UK's first what to be trialled in Scotland?
Is it witch hunt? Oh, we're going dark.
So I give you a clue? Oh, yeah, why not? It's the last one. It's a vehicle of some sort.
A driverless car.
Driverless train.
In between a car and a train. Goes on the road.
Lorry.
Tram.
Oh, it's a fucking bus, for God's Sorry.
I was expecting the word fucking to appear in there. UK's first fucking bus to be trialled in Scotland.
Anyway...
Is this a request stop? It is now. Hey. You want to go up the dual carriageway? Yeah.
So the final scores are Ian and Camilla have 3 and Paul and Susie have 7. Oh,
wow.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Camilla Long, Paul Merton and Susie McCabe, and I leave you with the news that as Sajid Javid looks for ways to cut NHS waiting times, a new medical breakthrough could allow men to carry out their own prostate checks. At a party in London, Prince Andrew's plan to attend royal events in disguise gets off to a promising start. And at the Louvre, French police are baffled as to how a daring art thief managed to walk out with the Mona Lisa. Good night.